It was a cold and desolate night when Sarah, a young nursing assistant, found herself assigned to the dreaded night shift at St. Agnes Hospital. The aging building creaked with the weight of its history, and the dimly lit hallways seemed to echo with the whispers of the past. As the clock struck midnight, Sarah delved into her routine, moving silently from room to room, checking on patients who were lost in the realm between wakefulness and dreams. The hum of medical equipment provided a haunting melody that accompanied her every step. In room 304, an elderly patient named Mrs. Thompson lay still, her eyes fixed on the empty space above her bed. The air in the room felt thick with a strange energy, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As she adjusted Mrs. Thompson's blankets, a sudden chill ran down her spine. The hospital corridors, usually quiet at this hour, began to echo with distant footsteps. Sarah dismissed it as the sound of her own tired mind playing tricks on her, but a growing unease lingered. She pressed on, passing by the nurse's station, where the flickering light of the computer monitors cast eerie shadows on the walls. In the break room, Sarah encountered an old janitor named Mr. Wallace. His eyes were sunken, and his voice trembled as he spoke of the hospital's haunted past. He whispered tales of restless spirits who wandered the halls at night, seeking solace or revenge. Sarah laughed nervously, attributing his stories to the ramblings of a tired man. As the night wore on, the hospital's atmosphere grew more oppressive. Unexplained sounds echoed through the empty hallways, and shadows danced along the walls. Sarah's skepticism began to waver, replaced by a growing sense of dread. In room 213, a patient named Michael, who had been in a coma for weeks, suddenly sat up, his eyes wide open. He stared at Sarah with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Before she could react, he spoke with a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of the unknown. "They're here," he whispered, his gaze fixed on the dark corners of the room. The air grew colder as a spectral presence enveloped the room. Unseen hands seemed to clutch at Sarah's heart as she fumbled for the call button. The lights flickered, casting a ghostly glow over the paralyzed scene. Sarah felt a hand on her shoulder, icy and insubstantial. She turned to see Mrs. Thompson, who had passed away hours earlier, standing beside her bed. The old woman's eyes held a mix of sorrow and longing as if she had unfinished business that only Sarah could understand. The hospital, once a place of healing, now seemed like a gateway to the unknown. As the first light of dawn broke, Sarah stumbled out of St. Agnes Hospital, her mind haunted by the events of that night shift. The echoes of the past lingered in her ears, and the shadows of the night shift workers continued their silent watch over the corridors, waiting for someone to hear their stories and carry their unspoken burdens into the light.